Okay, good evening, everybody. Today is Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. It is 6 p.m., and I'd like to call this meeting to order. And if you could all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So let me call in Ted. So bear with me a second.
Hello?
Hey, Ted, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. We're just getting rocking and rolling here. And Commissioner Trost is out tonight on some family business. So Lynn and I will be conducting this meeting. And anyway, so amendment and approval of the agenda. Lynn, did you have anything?
I did want to ask council, County Council, we had talked previously about the agenda item referencing cow ore, and I just wanted to make certain that we'll have an opportunity to discuss that rate adjustment and the rate plan within the context of the consent calendar. Is that still going to be?
I think, prior to discussion, or to approval of consent, we can talk about that.
Great, thank you very much. I'm good with what we got.
Okay, and and as I went through and was going through the consent agenda, there's a couple of things. One of those items was what you had brought up, and that is fine. And the other item I wanted to bring up as well is there's a new hire, which is wonderful, hiring another corrections deputy for the jail. And then Sarah Arianford is being moved into patrol deputy position from corrections. So that's great. And I got the sheriff's roster as well, and I figured I'd share that with you. So currently, for patrol, the only position left open is the CRO position. We have 4 road deputies, the forest deputy, marine deputy, the lieutenant, and the sheriff all available to take patrol calls. We have 3 open corrections deputy positions still left available, and we still have the civil and animal control available as well. And when it comes to the CRO position, community resource officer position, I know there had been great effort in working with the city of Brookings down there to specifically address harbor and with the transient issues and stuff that they have going on down there now. And so I'm thinking, being that the majority of the funding for that position is from opioid funds.
Which position?
The CRO position. And anyway, so the thought was maybe we reintroduce this again with the city of Brookings, or maybe even Oregon State Police. And another thought that I had discussed with council as well was, why don't we do a public workshop down in Brookings where we can have open discussion with Harbor and other community members from Brookings as well, to openly discuss some of the transient issues down in Harbor and how to address that. And we can invite BPD, we'll invite the sheriff, we can invite Oregon State Police, and just have a workshop about it and discuss.
I think that's a great idea. We've got so many calls coming in from our harbor constituents who really are left scratching their head relative to the amount of exposure that they feel. And I just think that we've really missed an opportunity here by not giving them the kind of coverage that they deserve. So yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm happy to see that, again, we get another person out of corrections and into patrol, and then we've hired another corrections deputy, so that's all good. And then I don't have any other changes.
Are you asking that we put that as an agenda item on somewhere in tonight's agenda? Is that what you're thinking, or how
No.
would you want that?
No.
Okay.
That's something that maybe we can bring up in the future, or we can schedule
Okay.
at a future date.
Okay.
Okay, so if there's nothing else, yeah, do you want to?
Yes, I make a motion that we accept the agenda as presented.
And I will second. So then I will call for the question. Commissioner Coker.
Aye.
And myself, aye as well. Motion passes 2-0 with Commissioner Trost absent. Next, moving on to public comments. And the public comment section of the agenda is an item designated for any member of the public who wishes to speak on any issue related to Curry County. Please be advised that the comments that are made by these individuals reflect their personal opinions and have not been verified factually. Comments directed toward county personnel will not be tolerated in this forum. We encourage anyone with personal related concerns to address them privately with any of us after the meeting. And first up, I have Don Bemis and Deborah Salzman, who represent Wreaths Across America.
I think I can talk loud enough so you can hear me. Ladies and gentlemen,
Actually, they can hear here, but online, we need to. You can hear okay?
It's on, Don.
Okay, go ahead.
yeah, I'm Don Bemis. This is Deborah Salzman. Commissioners, it's good to be here as usual. First of all, Wreaths Across America, we brought it to Brookings 6 years ago, and we've covered every veteran grave every year, and we will do so again this year. To report on the Gold Beach Cemetery, they are in the same situation. They will be covering every grave this year as well. I'd like to read into the record our donators, corporate donations from Brookings, just to have on record. And we were able to match the majority of them with donations from the public when we do our outreaches at the markets. But Brookings Veterinary Hospital, South Coast Lumber, VFW Post, Seal Rock Financial, Pacific Ocean Properties, Nature's Coastal Holiday, the Light Festival in Brookings helps us out. Redwood Theater, Curry Equipment, Chetco Shrine, the Sidney Croft Masonic Lodge, a secretary of the Sidney Croft Masonic Lodge, and Brookings Emblem Club. That doesn't count the public who donate at our outreaches. This year,
Just tell them the date and what's going on.
on December 13th in Brookings at 9 a.m., we have our ceremony to place the wreaths. We have Kurt Boyce will be there, and Patrick, you've been offered to come.
Yes.
And first you, Lynn, and Jay is also known if he wants to come. We have Jessica Carlson singing for us again. Ron Reel from Pacific Ocean Properties does the invocation for us. Weather permitting, again, we'll have Dan Bratton fly over in his trainer plane, and if he's lucky, he'll get a couple other pilots to fly with us as well. The ceremony usually lasts about a half an hour, and then everybody who attends places wreaths on the veterans' graves. Debbie provides a breakfast snack for everybody that attends with cookies and
Breakfast sandwiches.
breakfast sandwiches. McKay's Market in Brookings supplies of coffee, cocoa, and ice iced tea or hot tea?
Just to be aware, they're doing constructions up there, so the flags won't be up. We're gonna post the American flag, the VFW is gonna bring that, but unfortunately, they're not gonna be able to have the flags up. So we're kinda gonna be doing the ceremony in the road, because it is a big major construction right now that they were hoping to get done. It's not gonna be done until after next year. So, so people just be aware of that.
Where do you recommend when people attending, where should they park?
Just find a spot.
Find a
You can
spot.
park on the street.
Okay.
There's parking in the parking lot where the chapel's at. We can direct you so you can park up. There's also parking up above the,
The flags, where the flag
Where
stands
flags
are, you have to walk down. But if you park up there, you won't be able to leave until we get the chairs out of the road.
Okay.
Because we can't put them in the grass because it's too wet, and we just don't want to take any chances of people tipping over
Sure.
on the chairs. But from what I understand, we've been up there a couple days ago, and it's going to be fantastic next year because they're really doing a lot of work. And if you come, you'll notice it. There's a lot of cement work they've done. One of the walls collapsed because it didn't have a proper footing when it was originally done. And those big giant cinder blocks, concrete blocks, just started to tumble over. The terrace where the flagpoles are is in good shape. There's no problem there. But they're just pulling the flags out so they won't be in their way for cement work or anything like that. But they're doing good. They're getting it done. And we will cover every grave again this year. So, folks, you're all invited. Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell them when the ceremony is in Gold Beach?
In Gold Beach, it's at noon at the library. And then they go down to the cemetery probably around 12:45. And I've asked the pilot to fly over up here too if he'd like to. They did last year. And, yeah, they're doing good up here too. So.
Don, mention again the date and time for the Brookings event.
Brookings event is December 13th. That's a week from this Saturday. At 9 a.m. it starts.
Okay.
We usually get there at 7:30 and have the breakfast snacks ready by 8 o'clock. And if you attend, we're more than welcome to have you come up. This year, there's going to be something a little different. Because of the construction work, there's part of the cemetery we're not allowed to place wreaths because it's not safe. And what we'll probably offer is leftover wreaths will allow people that have family buried in that section to take the wreaths home. And we'll probably have a bunch of wreaths left over as well, so.
We'll allow people to take those.
We'll allow people to take those if they'd like as well.
Perfect. Thank you guys very much.
That's it. Thank you, folks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I have Andre Bay.
Lynn, thanks for that warm welcome again. That's always appreciated.
Well, welcome. Glad you were able to come.
I wanted to run some numbers by you today. I haven't said anything about the recall initiative efforts yet to this date, but I wanted to comment on what you said last month's meeting. You said thousands and thousands and thousands of people support the commissioners. And I think you were kind of looking at it like how many registered voters we have. The last primary was 19,000. We gathered 1,600 signatures. And the last primary, only 8,450 people voted, which is really lousy, 44%. We canvassed 2,000 people and gained 1,600 signatures. That's 80% in favor of a recall. If we would have kept going, the numbers probably would have kept going. You see where I'm going with this? Gaslighting, ego. Look at the numbers how you want. That's reality. Out of 2,000, 80% said recall. So I wanted to talk about last month's meeting real fast. Started out with comments. Mr. Cockerham, he made a comment about one road deputy. Later in the meeting, Jay stated there's 4 road deputies. He knows he was sawing a tree out of the road and seen him. Later on in the meeting, I guess that's going to be public safety update, Ted pipes in and he calls both Cockerhams fictional riders and says, I saw 4 deputies myself. I was right behind Jay. I don't know what they're talking about. So I went down the rabbit hole to get my facts. And here's what I found. I had to take a picture of it. You read it real fast here, sorry. I found it over here in the bathroom stall. That's where the rabbit hole brought me to. It says Jay's statement regarding being on the highway with the chainsaw like he is some kind of hero and there were 4 deputies is another mislead. He may have been too embarrassed to look up or too stupid to know what was going on. But a tree fell on Sergeant Van Zelt's car. And that's what was going on. And so Sergeant Van Zelt was there himself, obviously. A Marine Patrol deputy was there. Another 80-year-old reserve deputy who doesn't go to anything but special assignments. And a deputy on his way home after his shift at the jail. So in reality, it could have looked like 4 road deputies. It wasn't. It was one, luckily, who didn't get killed because his car got hit by the tree, and another deputy who was on duty. Mr. Cockerham could have been right saying only one.
Mr. Bay, can I ask you to?
I fact check it all the time, and those numbers have changed on road deputies day to day. And you just brought it up, and thank God we have the road deputies back coming from the jail. Could have been 1, could have been 2 that day. Some days the sheriff was 1. Thank you. Sorry I went over.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Mr. Bay, but I also wanted to say, I think we're just crazy lucky that the sergeant is okay. That could have turned out a lot worse.
It could have, and no one mentioned it. You gaslighted about 4 deputies on the road and Jay being a hero.
But thank you for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts on the well-being of the sergeant.
Next up, Georgia Cockerham.
Georgia Cockerham, Curry County citizen. Commissioner Hollinger likes quotes. During the November 6, 2024 meeting, prior to his being elected, he stood at this podium and read a quote that I had sent him in an email. It read, "Good leaders inspire, bad leaders control." You see, at that time, I had hoped that Mr. Hollinger might accept my attempt to help, and once elected, keep at bay his personal anger and vengeance. I had hoped he would find the quote helpful in overseeing all areas of county government. It was disappointing when he responded, "This is in context with what's going on with the sheriff's office and BOC. This quote to me," he said, "involves understanding the significant roles leadership can take and exploring scenarios where control might also be necessary," unquote. Instead of considering the inspirational lead in the quote and how it might be applied to all county matters, Commissioner Hollinger made it about control and Sheriff Ward. After 11 months on the board, it seems he still cannot find his way out of attack mode when he recently suggested that the sheriff resign. Though I named you, Commissioner Hollinger, these comments are directed toward the entire board. Listening to each of you, I'm often reminded of the school-age bully who has personally accomplished nothing of merit about which to boast, therefore living with anger and out of jealousy, fighting those he cannot control. During the November 5th general meeting, Commissioner Trost complained about me being disrespectful and trying to defame the 3 of you during my public comment. I made no false character accusations about any of you, nor did I lie to suggest that you are something you are not. I did what I've always done. I used your own words to let the public know the caliber of the men charged with overseeing this county. I'm sorry if you thought that my quoting any of you was disrespectful. About 18 months ago, the BOC removed law enforcement safety for citizens living in the unincorporated areas of Curry County and did so without a strategic plan in place for restoring that safety. The reason given to the public for this action was the county's dire financial state, but that has changed. You recently offered to pay Brookings PD to patrol Harbor. That did not come to fruition. The reason was not because of demands you made on the sheriff or sheriff's office. In other words, if Brookings had simply accepted the funding offer, you'd have given him the money without need for specific statistics from the sheriff's office. This suggests that the county does have funding to restore safety to locations such as Harbor, and that there is no need for additional sheriff's office information in order to do so. This suggests that you won't approve additional funding to make Curry County safer for its citizens because of your ongoing personal vengeance toward Sheriff John Ward. Thank you.
Thank you, Georgia.
Next, Bruce Cockerham.
Thank you. I'm sorry that Commissioner Trost can't be here because my comments are directed toward him for the most part. And they're also framed in the sense of the conditions that existed on November 5th, not including the deputy that you announced they're hiring for patrol. At the November 5 BOC meeting, I commented on there being only one patrol deputy outside of those assigned to the jail. This was true then, and is true on many occasions when state-mandated jail staffing must be covered by patrol deputies. The BOC builds the budget and formally approves all hiring. You know exactly how many patrol deputies we have, and you've shared us with an update. Thank you. Nonetheless, Commissioner Trost took exception to my comment and felt it necessary to offer rebuttal by saying, quote, and to answer Mr. Cockerham's statement earlier about there's only one patrol deputy, I recently was just cutting a log out on the 101 and 4 patrol deputies were on the scene. So there are obviously more than one. You saw 4 patrol deputies? No. This is what you saw. 1 sergeant whose car had just been crushed by a tree, 1 Marine deputy, 1 reserve who had just finished a prisoner transport and was going home, and 1 deputy who had finished his shift in the jail and was also going home. You did not see 4 patrol deputies, yet that's what you said to rebut my truthful statement. An important lesson in life is it's always best to tell the truth, even when it hurts, even when it fails to support the narrative you push. You could have said, yes, it's true that we have only 3 patrol deputies. Yes, they have to be reassigned to the jail whenever needed to meet state-mandated minimum staffing standards. So, yes, we do at times have only 1 patrol deputy available to respond to calls throughout the entire county. You could have told the simple truth. You could have gone further and said, we know this isn't acceptable, and here's what we're going to do about it. But no, you chose instead to tell a story that could be manipulated to intentionally mislead the public. So there are obviously more than 1. My advice to you is, in the future, stick to the simple truth, because Commissioner Trost, this has not been your finest hour.
Thank you, Bruce.
Okay, I have no more public comment. Do you have any commissioner comments? Lynn?
No, thank you, though.
Okay. I'll just address a couple of things here real quick, and then I want to also address Miss Ragsdale's questions from our last meeting. So I've got some notes that I'll do there. In regards to the discussing with Brookings PD in that CRO position, we offered a strategic plan with BPD and to the sheriff, and our sheriff refused it upon presentation without consideration. BPD also directly asked him for data. He said he was going to provide it. He never provided it. Therefore, Brookings couldn't help move forward with the CRO position we were willing to contribute to. In regards to the tree incident, I wasn't there, but I do know it was Deputy Stanberry, Deputy Rhodes, Deputy Gray, and Deputy Van Zelf were all on scene. So that was the 4 that were addressed by Jay. And anyways, so I'll move to Dee Ragsdale's questions that she had. She had a list of questions she asked at public comment last go around, so I'm just going to read my notes here. She asked about our insurance costs that increased annually to $375,000, and why did this increase? The annual increase is based on claims received over the past 5 years, as well as standard year-over-year cost of services increases. What does the Carollo Law Group do? The Carollo Law Group is retained as assistant county legal counsel and is specifically engaged in matters in which either county legal counsel is unable to or unwilling to participate, specifically an ongoing tax court matter, which is Mednansky versus Curry County Assessor. The county legal counsel was previously successful at the magistrate level, but during the pendency of an appeal by the property owner, a personal accusation was brought against county counsel by the county assessor. Therefore, county counsel was ethically bound to remove himself from his role in representing the assessor, although the claim against him found to be without merit. The Buckhalter question. Buckhalter was retained to represent the county's interest in defending county counsel from a fraudulent bar complaint intended to deprive counsel of his livelihood. PRH Legal Services, which is labor law, this firm was retained in order to provide advisement regarding the new bargaining unit representation of sheriff's office members. The attorney assigned to this task has assisted the county previously with bargaining. In regards to David Groff, expenses were the Mountain Lakes investigations, which was retained to perform a non-biased investigation of claims that were brought by the county assessor relating to a personnel matter, which, as described above, was found to, again, be without merit. Sarah Chinsky was retained to provide legal advice regarding a complicated land use appeal matter that is expected to proceed to the Land Use Board of Appeals. The total cost to date for this is less than $3,000. Our DC lobbyist and what we pay him for, they have been helping us with the support for the needed jail upgrades. They are now helping us with getting back our Coast Guard presence for Curry County, specifically in the Rogue River, and also assisting with relations with the USDA at the federal level as well. Pacific Geographic Consultants, and so Pacific Geographic Consultants, that is our planner, Zach Moody, and anyways, the $12,000 payment, this was due to 2 payments being made in 1 month, where the average monthly cost is approximately $5,500 per the contract. Eric and Leif Kaitola. So the Kaitola CPA firm is serving the county by providing budget and financial advisement, technical assistance, balance calculations, and other tasks previously assigned to the county finance director. This contractual arrangement allows for two individuals to be dedicated to the county for much less than two county employees performing the same level of work would cost. So he's been contracted as our county finance. The forensic audit for county finances, which we're using REDW, this is estimated to cost the county approximately $125 to $150,000 to go through everything and put that back together for us. And and she asked about lack of public involvement in the budget process as well. The only thing we could really think of with this is just likely due to the loss of our county finance director in the beginning of budget season. And anyways, budget committee meetings were advised and held, but without the county finance director, there wasn't as much involvement as there's apparently been in the past. So that those should be the items that address Ms. Ragsdale's questions from last meeting. And if she has other questions regarding these, we are happy to help
Thank
go
you,
through
Pat.
them with her.
Thank you, Pat, for putting
Yeah.
together Ms. Ragdale's responses. And of course, we trust that she'll let us know if there are additional open-ended questions that we can address on her behalf.
Yep. Let's see, let me get my notes here. Do you have any other comments or anything along those lines, Lynn?
No, I'm good to go. I appreciate the outline on, it's very well done relative to the amount of support that so much of the work that gets done around here is very expensive, whether we do it or whether we hire somebody to do it on our behalf, which is huge.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the consent agenda. Did you want to discuss item F at all with council, or do you have a basic understanding of that?
I do, but Ted, on item 8, F, we talked about the imposition of a new rate schedule associated with CalOR. And my concern in the communication that's being provided is that if somebody were to read that the way that it is, it could look as though there is a big surprise that could befall upon somebody who is needing emergency services at exactly the worst time in their life, when they need to be evacuated and or transported for emergency services, medical services. So I struggle with not that the rates are being declared, but the absence of an explanation of why the rates are what they are and why it is required based upon the kind of legislation that was passed this last year. So with that, I'd like to open up a discussion between you, me, and Pat relative to how we can represent to our constituents that the best ever services by CalOR are going to go forward, that for 90% of the people that are served by CalOR, there's not going to be an impact upon them in terms of pocketbook. And then for the 10% of the people who use CalOR who have, if you will, private insurance options, that they are liable to pay the new rate schedule that we're establishing tonight, but at the same time, they have their insurance to cover it, but they also have the opportunity to buy the CalOR insurance, if you will, or more accurately, the CalOR membership, and therefore not experience any possibility of out-of-pocket expenses. So it's that level of detail that I want to have in the public forum so that people can see that the very best is happening for this critical medical link that we operate here in the county, and that there isn't some oversight as we try to comply with the legislative measures that were enacted this last year. So with that, Ted, I'll have you coach me through what is possible to do relative to the communication regarding the rate schedule.
Well, the rate schedule was a requirement of the action of the Oregon State Legislature, and without a rate schedule in place, which is what's been brought forward tonight by at the request of CalOR. Without that, CalOR, our carrier, our main carrier, would not. They would only be able to be reimbursed in many cases at Medicare plus 30%, and Medicare approved rates are in general, and especially in this case, unacceptably low. They don't cover the costs for CalOR insurance, or for CalOR to perform its duties, which include life flights, includes ambulance rides over much of the state. It's an incredible service that they do deliver here, and with that, this rate schedule is put into place to address the basic cost in these cases of CalOR life flight. And I don't really know any other way to put it, because without that, without the rate schedule, then CalOR will be working at a loss. And we've had that happen with our ambulance services in the past, long past. We've had some really rocky times with ambulance services here in Curry County, and we don't want to return to that. Right now, we have a service that delivers, and this is what I think is a fair rate, but it's really not up to us either. I mean, CalOR has, if their rate schedule is deemed to be too high, then perhaps eventually they'll get competition. Right now they're the only game in town, and they do a great job.
Indeed. And then, just to your point regarding the legislation, House Bill 3243 that was passed, that requires that CalOR must have a rate schedule, a local rate schedule for its service area. And that triggers then the ability to do the proper Medicaid, Medicare billing. Is that an accurate statement?
That's correct.
Okay. And then the other thing that rate schedule does, it not only enables proper billing for Medicaid and Medicare, but it also allows then for those who are using private insurance to go ahead and use the CalOR services. They can in turn have their insurance company billed for those services at the published rate schedule, but they are protected from any out-of-pocket expenses beyond what their insurance pays if those 10% will sign up for the subscription or membership with CalOR. Correct?
That's the way I understand it, yes.
Okay. So as you look at the rate schedule, it varies from a low of $1,600 base rate for some kind of services all the way up to almost $5,000, plus some substantial charges per mile for these services, as you'd expect. So you can imagine that some people, 10% of the population, is going to look at a really hefty price tag if they do calculations relative to CalOR services. On the other hand, it's a little bit like a lot of smoke but no fire, in as much as those costs can be paid by the private insurance company and or costs eliminated by signing on as members of CalOR. So we've got a way to protect not just the 90%, but we've got a way to protect the other 10% too from any kind of extraordinary uplift in ambulance service costs. Is that the way you would read it?
Yes.
Cool. That makes sense to you, Pat?
Yeah, well, I'm a member of CalOR, and I'm glad I am because I've used it a couple of times, and that's saved us, my family, a lot of money.
And you clearly aren't on Medicare or Medicaid,
No.
so you would be one of the 10% that faces this rate.
Yep.
And by being a member of CalOR, you aren't confronted by some heavy additional financial
Yeah.
charge.
That's correct.
Me either. Okay, I'm good to go. Thank you very much, Ted, for walking that through in this public forum.
Thank you.
Any other consent agenda item?
Nope, that was a big bugaboo for
Okay,
me.
well, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move that we accept this consent agenda as enumerated in the document.
And I will second. Call for question. Commissioner Coker.
Aye.
And I myself. Motion passes 2-0. Commissioner Trost is absent. Item 6, we have a public hearing. Follow a hearing script that Natasha gave me. She told me if I didn't follow it word for word, I was in trouble. So I better get it right. This is a public hearing before the Board of Commissioners conducted to consider the adoption of an ordinance amending Article 4, Divisions 1, 2, 3, and 4, and adding Divisions 5 through 11. Do I have a motion to open the hearing?
I so move.
And I second. So motion carries 2-0. The hearing is now open at 6:42 p.m. And I will now turn it over to County Council for presentation of the ordinance.
Okay, let me get there. This is just looking at.
If you're looking at the PDF, it's page 48.
Yeah. I'm getting there. 1 second. Okay. In the matter of the ordinance, repealing and replacing Article 4, Division 1, 2, and 3, and adopting Article 4, Divisions 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, Animal Control and Protection Code. Whereas the Animal Control and Protection article of Curry County Code is antiquated, that's why sections have been found to no longer be consistent with the process-oriented state statutes specifically pertaining to dogs at large, dangerous dogs, and dogs harming livestock. And whereas a refined and updated code will benefit the county and the general public by providing enhanced and clarified regulation to guide enforcement, response priorities, and protocols. And whereas Division 9, restrictions on the sale of animals in retail establishments, and 11, predatory animal control, are existing county regulations that must be incorporated into the county code. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners hereby ordain as follows. And we've already gone through this in a workshop, so the title is sufficient for getting the hearing open.
All right, thank you. The ordinance will now be read by title only. This ordinance shall be known as ordinance number 25-03 and may be cited as ordinance repealing and replacing Article 4, Divisions 1, 2, and 3, and adopting Article 4, Divisions 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, Animal Control and Protection Code. Do we have any public comments on this ordinance? There is nobody here with any public comments for this ordinance. So now I will close this hearing at 6:45 p.m. Any further commissioner discussion? Lynn?
Nope, I'm ready to move forward with it.
Okay, I don't either. Do I have a motion to approve ordinance 25-03? An ordinance amending Article 4, Divisions 1 through 4, and adding Divisions 5 through 11.
I make that motion to approve ordinance 2503, which is an ordinance amending Article 4, Divisions 1 through 4, and adding Divisions 5 through 11.
And I will second. And that motion passes 2-0. And it has been moved and seconded. And all in favor say aye, and we said aye.
Aye.
So the motion passes. Ordinance 2503 is adopted. Thank you. Now we are on to item number 7. Discussion item, Renewable Hydrogen Alliance. Mr. Coker.
Thanks for the opportunity to have this on the calendar tonight. I wanted to come with a sobering message regarding the position of Curry and Coos counties in the face of the ongoing effort by global developers to install a wind energy industrial park off our coastal line. We'd all hoped that as a result of the administrative change, that the wind in the sails of the international developers would have dissipated, that they would float away into the sunset. But with the change in the administration and the forcefulness even of the execution of the current administration of its efforts to stop wind energy production, offshore wind energy production, in spite of the vigorous effort, the global developers have not at all turned down the volume or the velocity of the work that they're doing in order to advance the industrialization of the southern Oregon coast. So what are they doing? They're spending massive amounts of money on universities in order to do what I want to call FAW studies. And these FAW studies look like going out and getting opinion surveys rather that indicate whether or not people like wind energy or not like wind energy as it might apply to the southern Oregon coast. And then they package this information up and say that they did a goodwill effort on behalf of the community by asking these questions. And what they really do is they take that information back to their drawing board and I'm sorry, am I interrupting you?
Excuse me, please.
Am I interrupting you?
I can't hear you because they're talking.
Yeah, please show some respect for Mr. Coker in his speaking, please. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. So the point is that the developers are still very much engaged in trying to change our way of life. And I don't believe for a minute in the last 12 months when pencils were supposed to have been put down and no more effort into leasing, I don't believe that we've accomplished much at all in protecting our way of life. I think that we've actually lost ground. And the reason that I think that we've lost ground is that we are puffed up. We are proud of the fact that in a David and Goliath battle against the global developers, we won that battle. And while we're so puffed up, I want you to know we didn't win. We didn't win. So what do we do? So I've been working with our legislators and our administrators out of the executive branch, and with others who are gravely concerned about this throughout our county as well as Coos County. And we believe that the best thing we can do is change the script. What we are advised to do is to figure out a way to, first of all, recognize that the global developers are responding with the degree of aggression that they are because they understand there is a market for what they're attempting to do. There is a huge energy crisis, and they perceive that whatever solution they come up with, because of the degree of risk for communities like ours and for the state of Oregon and the Pacific Northwest in general, there's a perception that we're going to be hamstrung if we don't produce these energy alternatives that are resilient and sustainable. So our goal, rather than simply say no, is recommended that we say yes. Let's work together to come up with a sustainable, resilient energy solution that actually surpasses the proposal in terms of its ability to produce energy and its affordability to provide that energy in a way that doesn't collapse homeowners and ratepayers across the regions. So what are some of those alternative energy sources that we can choose? We can choose nuclear. We can choose we could choose hydrogen. We could choose some form of wind energy that has less disastrous effect on our shorelines. But it comes down to putting together the right people to sit around a table and hash out locally what we want to invest in as our answer back to the global corporations. We want to change the game to the extent that they no longer have a clear path for developing offshore wind turbines because we have provided a more sustainable, less costly approach to providing the energy that's essential. So with that, what I'm proposing to the board is that we come together with Coos Curry. We come together with Coos Curry Electric in a workshop, and we lay out a roadmap for ourselves relative to how we decide what is going to be our alternative energy solution, and with that, advance our cause through our legislative representatives who thirst for this kind of information, by the way. They are looking for alternatives. And with that, I would hope that we could talk about the best way to put together that workshop between Coos Curry and Coos Curry Electric.
Yeah, of course. Anything to not have windmills, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. We've had a huge outpouring of people against it, and we need to respect that. And finding alternative solutions such as hydrogen and working with our local energy providers, that would be a great workshop to have and to start that conversation.
Good.
So,
and that would be a workshop where we would have the public attend as well?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Public workshop.
Yep.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Public safety update. The only thing I have just to mention would be, I just want to give kudos to our road department. The road department scheduled with Curry Transit and Recycling to go through Harbor tomorrow and pick up all of the transients garbage along the highway. So they got that scheduled tomorrow, and so kudos to them for getting that going.
That's great news.
Yeah. Director of County Operations update. Ted?
Yeah, I wanted to clarify, that's actually not my information regarding the cleanup tomorrow. I know the road department had reached out to ODOT and.
Oh, through ODOT,
the
yeah.
concern, but, yeah, they reached out to ODOT just today about their concern about the, about those giant piles of trash in Harbor up and down 101. And they asked if it would be okay if the county did come clean them up because a private benefactor had contacted my office and offered to pay for that so that Harbor could get cleaned up. I put that out there and asked the road department to communicate it, and the road department was informed by ODOT that they are planning, they have already got somebody lined up to supposedly pick it up tomorrow, so we're gonna hope for the best on that. Anyway, I thought that was very nice of that benefactor to propose that, because, you know, the transient issue in Harbor persists, and it's a health and safety issue for everyone in the area. Let's see, on the other issues, the audit, as you mentioned earlier, is progressing. I've been asking departments to supply me with current, accurate inventory lists of equipment and supplies currently on hand, and we're looking back over some years in some cases, so we can determine the whereabouts of equipment and how it was disposed of, or if it was disposed of. So I'm working on that. That's all going to be going into the overall audit, which is, you know, the auditors themselves are working on the numbers, but these are the things that we can do within our departments. Let's see. Negotiations with the Sheriff's Office Union are ongoing, as referenced by, you know, the reference to our labor attorney who's leading that. And I'll let you know when there are developments on that. Let's see, Fairgrounds Christmas tree being supplied by South Coast Lumber, as it was last year and previous years. I'm informed that South Coast is going to be delivering that tree tomorrow in the morning, and it's still a little bit unclear if we're going to get Goose Curry to help us with standing it up. If not, we have some fallback plans. But that's all going to be happening tomorrow morning, and then the light stringing is going to be a separate operation. So those are my updates.
Okay, thank you, Ted.
Got a question for Ted.
Go ahead.
Are you still there, Ted?
Yep.
Okay. So one of the items that came up in the last couple of days has to do with the announcement. It's Business Oregon New Housing Infrastructure Financing Program. They kicked it off in mid to late October. But as we look at that, that's an infrastructure funding effort, financing effort that's managed by our LDCD organization. And we have some huge infrastructure questions on the table that we're trying to figure out how to go forward with, and financing, of course, is crucial in that planning. I'm most specifically thinking in terms of up there at the intersection of Airport Road and 101 across from the school. So we've got big sewer, water, street improvement, traffic dampening, all kinds of things that are infrastructure related that we're going to need to find funds for. And to what extent might we put this on the table in order to help our roads and infrastructure effort in the Port Orford area? Do you see a match?
We're still looking at that, Lynn. It's a little early for me to say whether that grant's going to be right for that. And also, as we've learned, we have to be really cautious about making sure that the grant is not only the right thing for our particular project, and that particular one up there is a little bit specialized. I hope it will be, but also that it's administered correctly in accordance with Business Oregon rules. And so, as we go forward, I don't want to get the cart before the horse. So, I think that very well could be a great benefit. But as we are looking at it, we see that Curry County is going to be we're going to be aiding other organizations in improving their infrastructure and, doing a little of that for our own, well, actually not really for our own benefit. We're going to be making certain areas of county property available so that those organizations like schools can use them to their benefit. We'll have to decide who the correct, if that grant's right, who's going to be the right one to pursue it. So we're looking at all that right now.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. I think it really is an opportunity to test it and study it and test it. And why don't you and I hook up in the days and weeks to come and see if we can't get a much better understanding of the opportunity here. We definitely need the money. I just don't know if this is a good source.
Right. We need the money. You are correct.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item 10, elected officials update. And I see our county assessor, Ms. Wagner.
Kylie Wagner, County Assessor. I'd first like to say, how dare you insinuate that it was anything but County Council's actions that caused the county to spend that money. That is insulting. I did not come here to speak on that tonight, so I'm going to try to jump back into what I am here to talk about tonight. I want to take a moment to recognize and thank my staff for the incredible work they did to get Curry County through another tax season. We were extremely short-staffed, and their hard work and dedication did not go unnoticed. I couldn't have done it without them, so I want to extend a big thank you to my staff. Now, I would like to address a few concerns I have relating to the November 5th meeting. During Commissioner comments, Commissioner Trost, you said when referring to an email that you had sent to the sheriff, and I quote, "He failed to even reply. That's not leadership." Shockingly, I agree, that is not leadership. However, on January 17th, 2025, I sent you and the rest of the board an email asking for your help with a situation that involved the lack of respect from one of your employees. You, along with the other members of the board, failed to reply. So I ask you, do you think that this is leadership, and is it only okay when you do it? I sent a follow-up email on January 29th to the chair, who at the time was Brad Alcorn. Again, I never received a response. Lynn, you were not on the board at the time, but Pat, you were. I would like to know why you lacked this leadership skill and didn't reply to me. Specifically because you came into my office before you were elected, accompanied by your campaign manager, who was none other than Mr. Coker. Before you left, you said if you were elected and I needed anything at all, don't hesitate to ask. Well, Patrick, I did ask you for something. I asked you for help, and you failed to reply. I'm also aware that the Department of Revenue has reached out to this current board, and yet they have yet to receive a response. Between the 4 full-time employees who make up the BOC staff, not one person could reply. Again, this is not leadership. Jay, as your commissioner comments went on, you said when referring to the PRC errors, and again, I quote, "It was Department of Revenue that alerted us to this issue." That statement is not only inaccurate, but another attempt to discredit me. I have the emails between Department of Revenue, myself, and Nick that prove the inaccuracy of that statement. I'm going to read some of that email. The email is dated June 25th, 2025. It's from Danette Benjamin, who is the Property Tax Division Manager for Department of Revenue. It reads as follows. Hi, Nick. As a part of Department of Revenue's recent review of Curry County's A&T functions, we asked about large balance appeal interest mitigation tools. Can you provide an update on the potential refund credit issue raised by Kylie below? It goes on to what I sent Nick. I'm not going to bore everybody with that. If that wasn't enough, I decided to do my own due diligence in an effort to provide full truths to the public before speaking. I called Department of Revenue to see if there was a conversation had without me. There was not. In fact, they are still waiting to hear from the board regarding the audit review of A&T functions. I asked the Department of Revenue to provide a statement that I could read tonight so that the board cannot manipulate what I was trying to say in another attempt to discredit me once again. I will read that email. Kylie, you asked me to confirm how the issue regarding the error in potential refund credit distribution was discovered. As stated in the county review document, the discrepancy of the distributions was raised by you and your office. At the time of our visit, we asked general questions regarding PRC policy and procedures. We were told that the county had used a PRC before, but the appeal that it related to was closed. At the time, we didn't get into specifics of the PRC and moved on to other questions. It wasn't until a later follow-up email where you provided additional information about the PRC issued and also provided information on the distribution discrepancies you had found. These are the facts, and this is what transparency looks like. It's not about receiving credit, but telling the truth. And I have proven once again, this board has a hard time doing so. I would like to point out this is not about the $1.1 million internal accounting error, but the irresponsible decision to not inform the budget committee and the taxpayers that the county general was entitled to an extra $64,000. The board and director of operations had this information and were made aware before the adoption of the budget. I have those emails to prove that as well. Within your fiduciary responsibility, there is a duty to disclose such information. This requirement is essential for maintaining trust and transparency with the citizens and ensuring that the interest of the taxpayers is always prioritized. Former Commissioner Alcorn used to give a disclaimer before public comment about how anyone could step up to the podium and say whatever they want, and it didn't make it true, that they haven't been fact-checked. The same can be said for the board. Just because they get to sit at the podium with a platform to say whatever they wish doesn't make it true. And just because they slap the same half-truths or just outright lies on a BOC letterhead and call it a press release, it still doesn't make it true. I encourage the citizens of Curry County to keep doing their due diligence, seeking the truth, and demanding accountability. All my information is public. You guys can come and see me, and I'll give you copies of all the emails. That's for the public. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Commissioner updates. Do you have any updates? Commissioner?
Kevin's here.
Thank you. I don't have any
Oh.
comments at this time. Yeah, I'm here to listen and learn today. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
My name's
thank you.
Kevin Kelly. I'm your district attorney. Look forward to working for you and with you.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin, and congratulations on your appointment to
Thank you, Commissioner.
DA, and look forward to working with you.
Appreciate that.
Okay, any other elected officials I'm missing? I think we got them. Okay, on to updates.
Are you an elected official? Do you have comments?
Yeah, you have anything you would like to say? How's about your time and stuff so far that you've been on city council?
Just 4 months. It's good.
Good.
I think we're moving ahead. Lots of things on the agenda, getting things.
Good.
And I apologize for whatever, because I was trying to be polite. I wasn't trying to be rude to them, so I hope, because they were talking so much and laughing and joking, and I just couldn't hear. And it doesn't, and I wasn't trying to take a side, like, I'm listening to them, because they're wrong, and you're wrong. I just couldn't hear.
Yeah.
And so I said, excuse me, and I didn't say it respectfully, so I apologize for interrupting, because that wasn't, I just couldn't hear anything.
It's all right. Thank you.
It gets difficult when we don't follow the rules.
It was nothing against them either.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Sorry about that.
Well, thank you for mentioning it.
You have any updates you would like to?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
The first thing I want to do is give a shout out to a great group over in the sheriff's office. That'd be our juvenile director and our prevention specialist. This would be Christine Neal and Brittany Felton. What they do on our behalf is absolutely critical for the well-being of our youth in Curry County. It is, from at least one perspective, a life and death matter regarding the use of drugs and illegal substances in Curry County. These two, in our juvenile organization, have set themselves against very difficult forces who are attempting to put poison into our retail environments. So what specifically are they doing? The first thing that Christine and Brittany are doing is that they are attempting to educate parents on the insidious, difficult to understand and find poisons that are being foisted onto our youth through candy stores, sweet shops, quick markets, things like that, in the form of things like high potency, what they call it, kratom. It's an element that's derived from the leaf of a Southeast Asian tree. It's supposed to give energy. It's supposed to give some sense of euphoria or well-being. It's supposed to bring energy and stamina, and used in peasant cultures for precisely those kinds of things. But what happens is that it's now being foisted onto our kids in highly concentrated manners, well beyond what you would anticipate seeing in the normal culture or possibly even the normal use that people are customary in dealing with. So we have this but this is just one of a handful of substances that are now being folded into gummies, into candy bars, into baking goods even. And how are parents supposed to know about this if it weren't for people like our juvenile employees? They have put forth, I think it was like 4 months ago, a training program in the high school over here in Gold Beach, and brought in a nationally renowned speaker and had a great educational event. Well, we now are part of a regular visitation of these kinds of parent education events that are promoted by our juvenile organization. And the one that I wanted to point out tonight is coming up on January 13th. This is, the title of it is Growing Minds and Modern Highs, THC, hemp, and croton. These things are so pervasive in our community that these training exercises that are being offered really are essential that we get the word out there for our neighbors. And for that, I wanted to make certain that I took a few moments to talk about it tonight, both giving thanks to our juvenile director and our prevention specialists in the sheriff's department, but also to caution our parents that we really need to proceed with wide eyes and a devotion to understanding the kind of marketing techniques that are behind this effort to poison the kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. And I've got a couple of things as well. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy belated Thanksgiving to everyone. Last week was a nice week, and on Thanksgiving, I want to just give give props to Miss Amy Gaddis Parker. She works in juvenile, and she really spearheaded and did a great job putting together Thanksgiving for those who either didn't have anywhere else to go or no family in town or just wanted to come and enjoy a nice meal at the fairgrounds with other community members. And I went with my family as well, and we helped volunteer, and God, there were a lot of volunteers. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that came and showed up. I want to also say thank you to our fire chief, Captain Krieger. He helped facilitate getting all of the food and cooking all of the food, the turkeys, the hams, potatoes, green beans, you name it. And without everybody, and especially Amy and Tyson, it couldn't have happened. They pulled it off in a very short time frame, and it was fantastic. They gave away about 400 meals for folks through the community on Thanksgiving, and it was great. And we're gonna continue it on again next year. So good job to all involved with that. I wanted to also give a quick update regarding the Coast Guard stuff that I've been working on to try to get them back here in Gold Beach. On Thanksgiving at the fairgrounds, Mrs. Waller was there, and her husband, he had passed away in that tragic accident at the end of August, and I had a opportunity to have a nice conversation with her, and anyway, so she's ready to join the fight with me, and I'm very happy to hear that. And thank you. Awesome. Thank you. All the advocacy we can get from. Well, thank you. And she's gonna help me fight, and we're gonna work on taking it to the media, and we're gonna get this exposure. What really, honestly, kind of ticked me off was the Coast Guard also pulled their rescue helicopter from Newport and relocated it to North Bend, leaving now exposure for Newport. There's a group up there, Wives of Fishermen, and they rallied together, and they brought charges against the Department of Homeland Security, and they were able to get a judge to reinstate the Coast Guard helicopter back to Newport. They found that they had illegally removed the helicopter and did not follow policy correctly, and they were able to get an injunction to get their helicopter returned. I reached out to that group, and they're offering their support for us down here as well, and that's great. One thing I was a little bit disappointed in with that whole thing as well was once their community caught wind of that, our senators and state leaders flocked to them immediately to help them fight to get it back. Where are they here? Why are we different? They had met with me. We had a plan we were putting together to address this at the federal level as well. And, but where are they? Where are they here advocating for us in Curry County? I'm happy Newport and Lincoln County got that support, but what about us? And I sent a pretty direct email to all of them on Monday, trying to relight that fire under their butts to help us out again, and to continue to take it to the federal level to get the Coast Guard to at least have a seasonal presence back here again. And I had a nice phone call today with Representative Boyce, and he's going to help as well put pressure on our state leaders to help move this along for us because, our summer fall season will be upon us again before we know it, and there's a lot of work to do still to get the Coast Guard presence back here, and I would like to have them here for that season. So I'm hoping with Miss Waller's help as well, we can make more of our voice heard at a bigger level. Commissioner Coker and I, we also a couple weeks ago attended the Association of Oregon Counties annual conference up in Eugene. Had a nice few days up there. They had lots of conferences and meetings regarding all sorts of agenda items, whether it was some items regarding, public lands or mental health or infrastructure, etc. We made we made several nice contacts and networked with several wonderful people. But we had the opportunity to meet with the Oregon Department of the Veterans Affairs director for the state, Mr. J. I might botch his last name, Dave Filippo, and he is offered to help us as well with the Veterans Crisis Card that we're working on trying to implement here at our county level with several veterans, and trying to get that off the ground for veterans who are in need or come in crisis, whether it's PTSD or other mental crises at inopportune times, and so I look very much forward to having him attend our next workshop that we'll have after the first of the year to continue pushing that ball along. And he thought that was a wonderful idea, and he wants to be involved to help us create that program that we'll trial run here for a few years.
That's great news.
Just great news. Another thing we need to start thinking about is our next year's Board of Commissioners schedule and timings for our meetings next year. So we'll have to have that as an agenda item on next meeting. So we will have to get that. So I'll start thinking of days and times that you would like, and we can discuss that just so we are not caught on our heels for next year.
Is there any sense that we need to change?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't carry any motivation to change.
Okay.
I didn't know where your head was at, but it could be an easy fix. There may not be a need to fix.
We'll see. We'll see what maybe Jay has in mind, but we can discuss it.
Okay.
Let's see. And the other last thing that I have, Christmas parade. And guess who is spearheading that? Miss Amy Gaddis Parker from Curry Juvenile again. So she is going to spearhead our Christmas parade here in Gold Beach. It will be on December 12th at 6:30 p.m. If anybody wants to be a part of the parade, please get a hold of Amy. And we very much look forward to having a big, grand Christmas parade this year. And get to see Santa go down Main Street here and see all the happy kids. And one last thing, again, being that it was just past Thanksgiving, I kind of found a funny quote by Ben Franklin that I wanted to share. A lot of people go out of town, or a lot of other family come to town to have Thanksgiving, and I thought this was kind of a fun quote. He says, "Guests, like fish, begin to smell after 3 days." So I was going to ask you, Lynn, I know you went and visited some family. Did you start smelling after about 3 days?
Well, they wouldn't let me in for 3 days. I don't know what that means.
Well, and I wanted to just say another little history tidbit on the turkey and Benjamin Franklin. So Benjamin Franklin also joked that the turkey would make a better national bird than the eagle because it was, quote, a more respectable bird. Can't say that that's exactly hilarious on purpose, but now it's historically funny. So I will end with that. And if there's no other updates, then I will adjourn this meeting at 7:25 p.m.